Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Funding is provided by a grant from Absolute Care of Westfield, committed to returning the favor to those who spent a lifetime caring for others. Absolute Care is located at 26 Cass Street in Westfield. Dave Cass and Rick Newell provide funding on behalf of the Lakeview Hotel and Restaurant at the docks, located on Water Street near the lake in Mayville. From the Access Channel 5 television studio in Mayville, it's Senior Report with Reed Powers. Join us live Saturday mornings between 9 and 10 a.m. in Fredonia, Mayville, and Silver Creek. Call in and share a thought or wish someone a happy birthday with Chautauqua County's only live on-air senior program. Reed continues in his 15th year with interesting guests expressing their viewpoints and informing the community on a variety of subjects. Here's the host of the show, Reed Powers.
And what a beautiful day it is here in Chautauqua County. I can take my cheaters off because, as you know, I recently had new eyes put in. I'll tell you, it's a gift from God, or from Dr. LaHood over in Dunkirk. It's nothing like being able to see again, like when you were a little kid. Although now they can see the big wrinkles under my eyes, you know, but well, what the heck, I could wear shades, you know, if I wanted to. The only thing is, when you have it, they say, do you want it for far vision or close vision? Well, who wants it for close vision? You want to be able to see the neighbors and the good-looking broads. So I got the far, but that means if you read something, you got to have these on, you know, you have to have your reading glasses. They can set you up for them. It costs you about $40, $50, plus the frames and everything. Or you can just go down to the local family tree and buy them for $1. You just have to know what you need, and what you do is you put a couple on until you see perfectly clear, and you notice it's a 250 or 1 or 1 1/4. They go up to range up to 4, I guess. Reminds me when I was a kid, I used to go to Paris and spend a lot of time over there. And Paris has a big flea market, and they have a flea market section which is just glasses. There's a whole block of glasses, millions of old glasses. And people go down and they put them on and try them, and they get one that looks pretty good. They can see pretty well with it again, and that's their new glasses. $1, how can it go wrong? I have a way of getting glasses, which I want to point out to any of you who don't have glasses insurance, which is me and a lot of other people included, although I no longer need them, because I had my glasses put right into the eye. But if you go down to Walmart, and this is not a commercial for Walmart, it's the cheapest place to go. $50 to give you an exhaustive eye examination, including the physical for glaucoma and cataracts. They're the ones who picked up my cataracts. And they also give you a wonderful vision test also. And then that's when they stick it to you, is when you get your frames. See, the frames are the racket. These frames that cost $2 or $3 to make for the fanciest ones, and that's including payoff to some designer. You could pay $300, $400 for a set of frames. Cheapest frames run like about $80. Well, if they can give you a pair of glasses with frames for $1, I'm sure that's overpriced. Well, what I do is I have them give me my prescription and make sure you have your the distance, pupillary distance added on there. Have them check that. That's important. You don't want glasses that are like this. You want them right where your eyes are. And you send that into one of several glasses people online. I use Zenni, and they will charge you, they'll give you hard plastic lenses, and they will give you your choice of about 1 million different frames. Designer frames are all knockoffs, of course, of the designer frames. Any frame you want, you can find. And they will, you send in your measurements online, just type them in, and a week later you receive your glasses, and the cost for the frames and the lenses and shipping and handling total $12. Okay? Can't beat that. If you don't have insurance, you don't need insurance. It costs $50 again at Walmart for their exam. So for $62, you can have a new pair of glasses. This is single lens, of course. All right, we got a great guest here. I haven't had him on for a long time. He was a county exec, the Chautauqua County executive for many years, did a fine job. And then he went into retirement, and he now practices law in Jamestown, right? Just Jamestown. Andy Goodell. Andy Goodell's an old friend. He's been around for a long time. And I will say, this is not an infomercial, nor is it a political endorsement, but he is running for the Assembly, taking over my cousin Bill Parman's position. Bill said, look, I've got only a few more years left. Let me retire and spend a lot of time with my wife, Lynn, and the kiddies, and just enjoy life in general. And so, because especially since the New York State government has become such a convoluted hassle, nobody even knows who's running it anymore. We do know that there's a very powerful guy running the Assembly. What was his name? Shelley Silver. And Shelley has a policy: if you don't do exactly what he tells you to do and to vote exactly as he tells you to do, you disappear. You disappear. Your name is not on a bill. He's got to give you one committee, and so you wind up in the committee that controls the eggs that hens lay in upstate New York. And you don't get any money for it, and you don't get your limo, and you don't get your expenses, and you don't get your staff for it or anything. You get a dozen eggs every week. And you don't even get a parking space. You know, outside the Assembly, there's parking for assemblymen. You don't get one. You've got to go to a parking lot about 3 or 4 blocks away and walk. Shelley controls everything. And the same as in the Senate, I might add. And in the Senate, they still aren't quite sure who is in charge. It's just a crazy hassle, and no government really seems to be taking place, although they did finally pass a convoluted possible, with a lot of maybes and hidden messages in it, budget. We'll find out how that works out. And so Bill said, I've had enough of this. Let Andy do it, or Nancy. There is another candidate, Nancy Barber. I got to mention her. Of course. Barger. She's doing quite a job too. She was also in the legislature. You guys have been running the county for a long time, huh? Okay. So at any rate, news is just craziness. That's the news out of the Assembly. There is no news because nothing's happening. But I'll tell you one thing. The national news is just. I start screaming in the TV, and my wife says, "I can't hear you. Stop it." You know. But the wars, which are making more and more casualties, are coming home. Sadly, and we're supposedly getting out of Iraq, but it doesn't look that way. We've got 50,000 boys poised there. They will not be come back unless needed, and they've always been needed because the Iraqis have a policy of when there's a gun fired, they run away. That's not 100% true, but it is true. There's not much of a fighting force. And we're supporting them, and I think our boys will be right in the middle of it anyway. And in Afghanistan, of all the disaster scenes, 3 different major civilizations have gone in there and tried to control them and tame them. You cannot tame these people in the mountain. They kill you. That's it. That's what happens. And very shortly, you run out of money. It bankrupted Russia, almost bankrupted England. France took a fling at it, and of course, back to the days, I think it was Constantinople was involved. Constantine jumped into it, and it was a disaster scene, whatever. Back to biblical times. Nobody's been able to control them. And so what do? We go in there and march right in. Well, of course, 19 of the pilots in the 9/11 disaster were Saudi Arabians. And all the money funding it came from Bin Laden and company, Saudi Arabians. So, but the Saudis and the prince have supported the Bush family for many years with lots and lots of money, and they're good friends. And so, rather than attack the country that did it, he attacks Afghanistan. And you see him wandering around helping the king over at his ranch, but it's crazy. Well, you know how many people making money on this war, which they keep off TV? They don't want you to think about it. Out of sight, out of mind. The arms manufacturers. Biggest one, of course, is Carlyle Group, owned, operated, one of the board of directors, George Bush the first. Interesting. And when they declared war, there was a huge amount of money they needed, Bush Jr. needed, Dubia needed, and so he gave 2 contracts out. He gave, without bidding, he said, this is yours, charge whatever you want. One was his daddy's company, Carlyle Group. The other one, guess what? Halliburton, the vice president's company. You say politics is not crooked in Washington? I won't say they're all crooks, but I think a lot of them are. I keep getting these emails, throw them all out, let God sort them out. Vote them all out, whoever's there, vote against them, doesn't matter. Seniors particularly, because seniors are received, since they're giving us cheating COLAs over the last few years. You know, they give you 1% when the cost of living has jumped 5% and 2% when it's jumped 10%. And this year, of course, they're giving you nothing. They say, well, there's no inflation this year or next year. They predicted that too. No COLA, no cost of living adjustment. Seniors they've lost 50% since 2002, according to the government's own figures, of purchasing power. In other words, their dollar is now only worth 50 cents. And many people are dependent on their Social Security and their pensions. Well, they say you got a pension. Well, guess what figures the pension uses for their COLA? The phony federal figures, the core, and we're not going to put in housing costs because they're going up, they're going down or up. Now they're in because they're going down. It's showing there's no inflation. They fiddle the figures around. And it's all let's pretend. In the meantime, seniors, you're losing your purchasing power so fast your head will spin. Very shortly, you people who are seniors, who are on retirement, as am I, we peoples, will be we'll be eating cat food like they did during the Depression, and we'll be living in our children's basement. Because you notice the houses going up for sale, and a lot of them are senior houses. They can't afford to run them anymore, not on their Social Security and pension. And what are they supposed to do at the age of 90 or 87 or whatever, or even 75? Go down to the supermarket and try to get a job? They'll laugh them out of the market, out of the place. But even if they did get a job, can you see them trying to palletize or doing the grub work that you get for these minimum wage jobs? No way can a senior get up on a ladder and start stocking the shelves. Give me a break. There's no overtime, there's no extra time, there's no extra job. Seniors are stuck on their pensions and Social Security. And when you take that away, you're starving them. You're really doing a disastrous thing. And the Congress, which awarded themselves a big raise last year, simply announced there's no COLA for seniors. We promised it all your life, of course, but no COLA. Sorry, we're going to screw you. I can use that term because President Bush uses it on TV. So the seniors have been screwed by the Congress. Throw them all out. Throw them all out. They're all crooks. I'm not all crooks, but there's a lot of crookedness going on in there. As Eisenhower used to say, most of them are as crooked as a dog's hind leg. All right, enough of that. Local news. Chautauqua County is in a point of stasis again. We have a rip-roaring county which is just alive and crazy with the tourists doing for 8 weeks. And then, poof, it all disappears. And we go down to nice, quiet, there's hunting, there's fishing, there's skiing, there's the snowmobiling, and it's just a nice, quiet little county again. And the season is over, and now's the time to get out there. And, you know, hunting season's open right now. You can knock off a rabbit if you want to, or a squirrel. But deer season comes very shortly. And, of course, turkey season. We have a lot of great hunting here. And the fishing is wonderful. The huge trout and salmon are coming up the creeks from the Lake Erie. Incredible fishing. You can snag them as fast as you can pull them out. Don't take more than your limit. 5, I think. All right, at any rate, local news. Well, we got the greatest group. We have the greatest senior clubs in this world, I think, here. Every town, village, and township has one. It's just wonderful. Join your group if you haven't. Dunkirk Federated is one of the big gangs. They have their own place, a beautiful old school. And you'll drop over there and meet Loretta Hammock. She is the president. She's the one who does the job. They're having an annual Thanksgiving party scheduled, and I'll give it to you right now, November 20th.